Well, my name is Anthony Chambers, but I'm called Tony, so everybody calls me Tony. I'm actually a former child migrant, and I was sent actually to New Zealand in December 1951 and arrived in New Zealand in January 1952. I was born in a little town in England called Hemel Hempstead. I lived in the family with my birth mother, but I didn't know my father. There was no father in the house. After the war, things were pretty tough. There was a lot of circumstances, and my mother was finding it very difficult to look after me. My mother did go to apparently to the local welfare people in my town to see if I could perhaps be fostered somewhere in England or Britain. Not necessary for a permanent situation, but somehow or other she seemed to have misunderstood. My mother knew, apparently, that I would be sent to a country called New Zealand, which in those days, remember, it seemed even further away. But she seemed to have thought that I was only going to be sent away for a period of time. In actual fact, I got adopted in New Zealand with a very kind New Zealand family. So in a way, I was kind of lost to her. But I was very happy, but I was confused because, see, I always remembered that I had a mother. Growing up in New Zealand, because I had a good life, I was very happy. But I was also confused. I did not really understand why. Did my mother not want me? I used to think. So I thought, well, all right. I did my schooling, I did my engineering printing trade, and saved my money as a young man, and said to my New Zealand adoptive family, when I was 22, I want to go back to England to see where I come from. It was something I had to do. So I did do that. I came back to search to see if I could find my mother. As it turned out, my mother was still a single lady with no other children. And so by meeting my birth mother, I also met some of my other aunties and uncles that I remembered as a small boy, because I was 9 and a half when I was sent to New Zealand. So my story is in the sense of being separated like these children, but years later I learned that many of them had a very bad life in these countries. And I didn't know that growing up in New Zealand. I didn't know the wide scale. It's like a coming home, isn't it? I feel a part of this. It's a part of the jigsaw puzzle. And my story is a piece of that jigsaw puzzle.